2,
In January?
the 20th regular meeting of the Board of Directors of School Administration, District number 52. No pledge because we did the pledge at the, okay. So first and foremost this evening, we're going to act on the minutes of 2 different meetings. First is the district budget meeting, May 7th, 2026. Anybody know any errors, omission, changes, or anything you'd like to modify on those minutes? Seeing none?
Okay.
I turned it off.
I know, I'm just making sure it got
I'm
turned back
kidding,
on.
I'm kidding.
I just making sure it got turned back on.
Okay, not see, we're talking about the owl to make sure it's recording us for
Sorry.
posterity's sake.
Sorry.
So seeing no thing, we'll accept them as presented. Minutes for the 19th regular meeting, May 28th, 2026. Anybody knows any errors, omission, changes, or anything you'd like to do for that? Not seeing any, we'll accept them as presented. Report of the board chair. Just a couple of quick things. One, I had the pleasure of going, I feel like I'm basically talking to the owl at this point. I had the pleasure of going to the 2 graduations, one here for adult ed, which was very nice and well done as always. The second was at the Colisée for the general high school graduation. Both went very well, I thought. So I will say it is, I used to stand against the idea of being at the Colisée. I used to be a big believer that Levitt students should be at Levitt and forced to suffer like I did in the heat and the shortage of tickets and everything. That was part of the experience. But seeing the amount of parents and friends that go to the Colisée and the excitement and the fun that they have, and hearing complaints of other districts that did not have that same experience, I told Evan that I'm going to stop fighting on it. I think it's a worthwhile place to be. In general, other than we need a little speaker for us, we can't hear any of it. We just sit here, we don't hear anything in the back there. Other than that, tonight, I would like to take a second and thank Crystal and Bree, who has changed looks just a little bit, but it was in Bree. Bree, I'll thank when she comes back later. This is our last official meeting with Bree and Crystal. And they both decided to step back and have a little bit more free time than the rest of us. And I want to let them both know, and I'll let Bree know more when she actually gets here, that they will be missed. And even though I didn't often agree with them, I did very much respect their ideas, and they did make me think sometimes. And they will greatly be missed. But like I said in an email earlier, or I can speak earlier, this is not goodbye, because we will hopefully have a need for a meeting next Friday at some point during the day, which we'll figure out.
Next Friday's the 19th, 2 Fridays from now.
At some Friday in the future before July, we'll need a meeting. Primarily, hopefully, to accept the budget results prior to our budget season ending. But we'll play that game when the time comes. So, but I just want to say thank you, Crystal. And again, you will be missed. All right, that takes us to public comment. Any public wishing to comment tonight? Anybody else? Well, all right. That moves us on to communications. Board chair has 2. The first one is about a grant we received from the Bicycle Coalition of Maine. Did Derek do the work?
Yes.
And this was a result of work by Assistant Principal Derek Galway. We were awarded 2 bicycle racks, and I think they'll be installed sometime this summer. So that is, when I did first hear about this, I said we actually have bikers, and apparently we do.
I think that's the one now. Is there a second one in there?
Did you get more money about the t-shirts? Or is that a
Oh,
reprint?
that I don't have, I think that is, we've already done that.
We did it, but I don't know, should we get more?
Is additional money?
This is additional money.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't see a piece of paper for that, so you just.
So we received, the district received a donation of $900 for the t-shirts for the transportation department to, say our thanks for driving our kids safely and build camaraderie amongst the staff. And I assume this is Kyle, I think.
Kyle
From the
was the
work of Kyle,
organizer, yeah.
Kyle was the organizer and put the work behind this. So, thank you. That takes us to Carrie, Superintendent.
Yes.
Do you have any communications?
I do. I'd like to report the following resignations. Scott Sibley, van driver at the end of the school year. Melissa Rogers, special education teacher at Tripp Middle School at the end of the summer. Hillary Bassinet, elementary teacher at Leeds Central School at the end of the school year. Kelly Fortin, general education ed tech 2 at Turner Elementary School. And Rain Gowie, office support assistant at Levitt High School at the end of the school year. We've hired 2 new food service substitutes, Brenda Hinckley and Joanne Douglas. And the following transfers: Catherine Blauvelt, who is currently a special ed tech 2, is transferring to an ed tech 3 at Turner Elementary School. Stephanie Chase, currently a special ed tech 2 at Turner Elementary School, transferring into special ed tech 3. Pam Moran, an English teacher at Tripp Middle School, is transferring into the instructional coach position at Tripp Middle School. And Linnell Moran Towers, who is currently teaching grade 2 at Turner Primary, is transitioning to the interventionist teacher at Turner Primary School.
Anything else?
Nope.
All right. That takes us to committee reports. Tonight we have Crystal with your final report. Are you sad?
Very.
Not.
The Tri-Town Teachers Association.
We had our mediation meeting the other Tuesday, last Tuesday. It went well. We came to agreements and the union voted yesterday in favor of the new contract. So that's a big deal.
And we have an executive session later
Yep.
this evening to discuss it in further detail.
Exactly. That's it.
Thank you. That takes us to the student the students. I do want to say for a second, this is you guys' last official meeting of the season, because if we do have that next meeting, I can't see it, but if we do have this next meeting, it will be something quick and just to do some quick paperwork. So, I want to thank both of you and the third who did come. Over the decades, we have worked hard at trying to get some students to show interest and be here, and you guys have been excellent. You guys have both done, and not only have you showed up, which is important, you guys have also communicated and even got into the discussion sometimes, which, to be honest with you, is braver than I would have been at your age. So I just want to thank you guys. You did a great job. That being said, your final reports. You guys get the. Who was going first?
I can go.
Okay.
So finals are done and everyone's enjoying their hybrid classes. And I got the opportunity to tour some 8th graders at upcoming freshmen, and the class that I toured was really cool. I think it'll be great new freshmen.
I don't have much else other than I've been talking with teachers and they're sad to see their seniors go, but they're excited for the upcoming freshmen to come up for their new HBGs.
Okay.
Can I ask you guys what you're doing in Hive Week?
I'm doing D&D.
Okay.
There you
And I'm doing the cooking in the hive.
Cooking in the Hive.
Yeah.
It was a little warm cooking.
Well, the buttercream was melting.
So that's a yes.
Yeah, so we had to call aside and finish it up tomorrow morning before we presented.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you, John. It takes us to we got no other administrative reports this night, just Carrie.
Yep. All right, I have a lot. So first thing I'd like to do is introduce, we have a couple of new administrators joining us tonight. So I'd like to introduce them. So first, I'd like to introduce our new adult ed director, Adam Sikora. Adam, welcome.
Hi, everyone.
I'll just give a little background on you. So Adam comes to us with 7 years of experience, currently as the adult ed director in SAD 49, which is Fairfield. If you know high schools, it's Lawrence High School. That's how I know school districts, by the high school. He's got a BA in business and a master's in adult ed and higher education. He was described by other adult ed colleagues as a team player who listens well and is thoughtful. My favorite was the Lawrence High School principal could not have recommended him more as a collaborative person and creative in trying to meet student needs. and as a hands-on supervisor and willingness to step into any role to meet the needs of the program. The team that interviewed Adam, which included 3 members of the adult ed staff, Gabby and myself, could not be more excited about bringing Adam on board. So welcome, Adam. Second administrator I'd like to welcome is our new pre-K special ed assistant director, Gretchen Curtis. Welcome, Gretchen. Gretchen is coming to us from the S56, which is the Dirigo School District. She has a BA in early childhood education. I love this. Has also, in addition to teaching a range of special education, has also been a physical education teacher. So is multi-talented, but in her special ed background has taught everything from resource to day treatment, and is currently a TCI trainer, which is a therapeutic crisis intervention module that supports staff working with students in need of high level of behavior support. She's been described as by her supervisors as highly capable, able to do difficult things and stay level-headed, and works well with a wide range of families and students. We could not be more excited to have Gretchen join our team. Rebecca and Lucy are both here. Rebecca, do you want to add anything to that? I put you on the spot, sorry.
Yes. You did. We're very excited to be able to program for 3 and 4-year-olds, and we are very excited to have our assistant director, Lucy Davis, has been doing a very heavy lift all school year. So we're so glad to have Gretchen with us to be able to do the good work, and we're thrilled in her special education background, along with her education in early childhood. So we are looking at great possibilities working as a team to be able to meet all of our kiddos' needs.
Welcome.
Where baby came from, so I have no idea.
So welcome, Gretchen. And just because it can't be said enough, all pre-K funding for special education comes from the state. It is not in our budget.
For now.
I'm just saying, it's important to make sure people have good information and not misinformation. And then I also want Cheyenne, who is not with us tonight, she had a conflict, but we are taking interim off of Cheyenne's title as our transportation director. She has been outstanding in the couple months that she's been running the department, and we feel nothing but confidence about where the department is going to go from here. So very excited for that. So interim is gone. Okay, so the rest of information is from the consent agenda. So you have in front of you a schedule of proposed scheduled meetings for next year. Peter and I discussed this. There's nothing fancy in there, no changes. Was there one Wednesday meeting that we have to move? I can't remember.
You move something.
Yeah, but it's follows pretty much the pattern that we've done in the past. You're being asked to approve probationary teacher moving from year 1 to year 2, Libby Forbes from Turner Primary School. When we eliminated a teacher position at Turner Primary School, Libby was the teacher who would have not been able to move forward, but with a shift in staffing, we are very excited, as I know Alex is, to have Libby stay on with us. She's an outstanding teacher, has been great in her first year of teaching, and the staff and the principal over there are very excited to be able to keep Libby on board. You have a host of outstanding candidates. I can't tell you, hiring this year has been great. We still have a lot of openings, but the people that we've been hired are great. So social studies teacher you're going to see for the high school is Katie Allen. She left Maine for college in Ohio, got a bachelor's degree in history from Cedarville University. She's been described by her mentor teachers as a natural with students, open to feedback, excellent lesson planner, and collaborative. So we're very excited to for her to join the high school. At Green Central School, an experienced special education teacher, Audra Nippa, over 14 years of experience, currently in MSAD52, which is the Topsom School District. She's got a BA in elementary special ed, a master's in learning disabilities and emotional behavioral disorders. She's currently a behavior strategist, but really wants to get back into the classroom. Her current special ed director told Doug, Audra is a good human and is in education for the right reasons, which I think is a lovely sentiment. So we're excited to welcome her. Levitt is going to bring on a science teacher, Isabella Leahy. She's got a bachelor's in biology from the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. How did she end up in Maine? It's a great story, but for another time. She has a master's also in teaching of secondary science. She moved to Maine last year and is coming to us from RSU 10. She's excited to join a larger science department and have colleagues to work with. Her current principal told us that Bella is quite incredible in her curriculum knowledge, classroom management, understanding the chain of command, and solving problems. She has great insight to what it means to be a good teacher. Just yesterday, a new art teacher at Turner Primary and Turner Elementary, Kaylee Pulsifer. She is a Levitt grad coming home. She has a BFA in arts education with a focus on ceramics and a master's in arts education. She has a range of experience as an art teacher, a special education BHP, a small business owner, and a veteran. Her former art teacher here at Levitt from when she was a student wrote her recommendation, described her as reflective and always looking to improve herself. Her previous supervisor shared that her relationships with students and families are excellent. She really gets art and how to teach it. So this is a really high quality team that we're bringing to you. So remaining positions to be filled with teachers. At the high school, we still need 2 special education teachers. At the middle school, we need 1 special education teacher and 1 English teacher. At Turner Primary, we need 1 special education teacher and 1 school counselor. At Leeds, we need 2 teachers. At Green, we need 2 teachers and 1 special education teacher. And then district-wide, we need 2 pre-K special education teachers and 1 gifted and talented teacher. So there are, in some of these positions, things happening. Some interviews happened this afternoon. So some of this will be resolved, in the next week or 2. Some of these positions I think are going to be trickier to fill. So we're going to keep working on it, but that's where we are. And then the last thing I'll give you is Rebecca did receive a notice of how much we would be getting in our federal special education funding, IDEA. So the number, it's $11,500 up from last year, so $644,545. And that is what I got.
All right, that takes us to the consent agenda. There are 3 items that Carrie did not address that are on the consent agenda about finance. Does anybody want from the finance committee or anybody want to highlight those, or have we already talked about them before?
We have, but if we can
Okay.
go over again, if anyone has any
I was
questions.
gonna say, if anybody has any questions. Yeah, they look familiar. All right. Before I go through the list and read it, does anybody at this point want to pull anything off the consent agenda? All right, so the consent agenda. Items to be acted upon collectively unless a board member asks that a specific item be acted upon individually, which I just asked. 8.1, approval of the superintendent's recommendation of revised job descriptions. 8.1.1, middle school counselor. 8.2, approval of the superintendent's recommendation of a new job descriptions for 8.2.1, pre-K special education teacher. 8.3, approval of the 2026-27 Board of Directors meeting schedule. 8.4, consideration and approval of the Finance Committee recommended April operating and expenditure reports. 8.5, to act on the reappointment of the following for the 26-27 school year. 8.5.1, probationary contract teacher, second year. 8.6, instructional nominations to be acted upon collectively after nominations have been read by the superintendent. 8.6.1, Levitt Area High School social studies teacher. 8.6.2, Green Central School special education teacher. 8.6.3, Levitt Area High School science teacher, and 8.6.4, Turner Elementary, Turner Primary art teacher. 8.7, consideration and approval of the Finance Committee recommended use of capital repair funds for the up to $400,000 for the use of wastewater treatment plant expenses as needed. 8.8, consideration and approval of the Finance Committee recommended use of capital repair reserve funds for the engineering expenses for Turner Primary School well design of $8,700. And 8.9, consideration and approval of the Finance Committee recommended of WB Mason for the FY27 district paper bid. Do we have a motion? We have a motion by Crystal, second by Kyle. All those in favor? The consent agenda. All right, all those opposed? Abstained?
It was unanimous.
Was it unanimous?
Yeah,
Okay.
It's too late. It's okay.
I'm just gonna try and find your vote somewhere.
All right, takes us to old business. 9.1, consideration policy committee recommended second reading and adoption of revised policy IKF graduation requirements. I'm gonna ask the superintendent just to highlight this was brought up to us meeting, but then we pulled it because of something that occurred at graduation. So we'd like to highlight whatever the changes were and then we can move forward.
So, did you review the changes that the committee made, Crystal?
No, we scrapped it.
So why don't you talk about what the committee did, and then I'll talk about the part that was the reason why we
Yeah.
pulled it.
Correct. So the committee surrounding the homeschooling requirements for coming to school and getting a diploma, we went with the recommendation that it seemed like that was the board, was 1 year and 6 year, or 6 credits, excuse me. And that was, we literally met for 20 minutes, 15 minutes, something like that, and that was what we had decided on. Okay.
And then if you look in section 5, so on the back page, section 5, paragraph E, which is the paragraph about participation in graduation ceremony, we discovered that we had some inconsistencies between the current policy and the student handbook. So we went in, I met with Eben and Heidi Poulin, the guidance director, and the three of us sort of agreed to bring that consistency. So that sentence is not in the current policy. So the one that's crossed out in paragraph E will remain crossed out. That is the sentence that was in the handbook, but it hadn't been in the policy. So we're just going to leave that out. It allows a little bit of flexibility for seniors who may not be fully enrolled to engage in some different planning, so, and still participate in graduation. So that was the change that we made.
Before we start, do we have a motion?
Yes, I did. Sorry.
Do we have a motion? We have a motion from Joe. Do we have a second? We have a second from Kyle. Beat you just by a second. All right, any questions, discussion, thoughts, amendments on graduation requirements? Anthony, please.
I had an opportunity to speak to 2 of our legislators on the education committee. And in that conversation, we discussed this policy and the way that it treats homeschool students. Both of them were appalled, Kim Hagan and Sheila Lyman. They were appalled that we would be treating homeschool students differently from students from potentially some other state. They pointed out that the way that most homeschool students will probably be evaluated for their academic achievements so far and how they might stack up against our approved curriculum and its requirements would be by portfolio review. And they said, this is the exact type of review that the Department of Education has now adopted for the certification of teachers, because it recognizes that teachers could have a variety of different experiences that could come outside of the typical formal teacher preparation program, and that this would allow them greater flexibility to certify qualified people. But we're not going to extend that to our homeschool students in this community who might, for whatever reason, their families might decide that they need to enroll in the schools to finish off their education. Perhaps there was a death in the family. Perhaps there was a need for one of the parents to go to work in a way that they would not be able to oversee homeschooling their child. So it's really appalling to me that we are sticking with this idea that arbitrarily homeschoolers transferring into the district have to meet a different bar than students transferring in from some other school. And to highlight the reason for that, I'd like to just change a couple of words in this policy and read it out to you. And I hope that you will understand how morally reprehensible this would be. White students transferring in. For white students who transfer to Levitt Area High School from another school, The Lebanon area high school principal shall determine the value of the student's prior educational experience toward meeting graduation requirements. Black students enrolling in the school. For Black students wishing to receive a diploma from Lebanon High School, in conjunction with the Director of Guidance, the Lebanon area school principal shall determine the value of the student's prior educational experience toward meeting graduation credit requirements. A Black student must have attended Lebanon area high school for a minimum of 1 year, which is their entire senior year, and earn a minimum of 6 credits at Lebanon area high school in order to receive a Lebanon area high school diploma. I hope that that really, really lets you understand how absolutely arbitrary it is to single out homeschool students based not on their academic achievement, not basing what they need to do to graduate based on their academic achievement, but simply based on the fact that they are homeschoolers. And so I propose an amendment to simply say we strike entire paragraph B under section 5 and reword section A to students transferring in from other schools and homeschool students.
Do we have a second? Second from Kyle. Okay, we currently have amendment on the floor, which basically, I think it was pretty well explained by Anthony. We're getting rid of B and basically taking A and adding the word homeschool at the end of the initial sentence. Any thoughts, questions, or anything about this amendment? Right. Not seeing any.
Can I just provide a little bit of information?
Sure.
So when the committee met, I shared the types of information that homeschool students are obligated to provide to the school district. And it's very, very minimal. So the issue is about the documentation, and it's about us having information about what the student has learned. And so I shared a couple of examples with the committee members to be able to see what is submitted and how minimal it is for us to be able to rely on. So I think it's really just about having information and knowing what we can grant credit for. So.
Alex?
In that sort of situation, the administration would have the right to deny the diploma or deny the application or whatever. You know, it's not, I don't think we're saying that they can apply and be awarded the diploma regardless. You know what I mean? There's I guess what I'm saying is there's a process to review it. If you deem the materials provided to be insufficient,
Correct.
You would deny.
Well, you wouldn't necessarily deny, like a student can enroll, right?
Right.
The student decides to enroll. It would just be a process of determining how much of the graduation requirements they've already met, how much of that documentation is clear enough, and then how much is not. So I think that that's a piece of the process.
It would be like a case by case type.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anthony?
So as it's written, as the committee sent it to us, and to Alex's point there, if Mr. Shaw looked over a homeschool student's portfolio and realized, wow, this student has actually exceeded the graduation requirements of Levitt High School, too bad. You gotta spend a whole year here and earn 6 credits. That's what this policy says. But some kid coming in from Mississippi or Tennessee, as Mr. Shaw told us during our committee meeting a year ago, they might have something that he can't even make heads or tails out of, but they get treated differently. They don't have to spend an entire year here. They don't have to earn 6 credits necessarily. Nope.
I just want to clarify that similar investigations are done when we get transfers from other schools if we don't understand what it is that the student took as a class The difference is you have a school to contact, you have somebody to contact. And I think the variation that comes from what is done in homeschooling is just very broad and very inconsistent.
Crystal?
The pieces of paper that Carrie spoke about that she brought to Ashley and I, Joe was unable to be with us, but, it said, like, does the student meet attendance? Yes. Did the student meet, whatever their math goal was? Yes. But doesn't say completed 8th grade math or 9th grade math, kind of like you would get from somebody transferring from wherever, any school in Maine or outside of it, to say, oh, Crystal Veras finished, 9th grade math, 10th grade math, 11th grade math. Cool, great. That's great for any other, school in the state of Maine, or maybe not all of them, but here we require 4. So she definitely has to have a math course this year. I think that it's probably very challenging when if that's all you're getting is a piece of paper that says satisfactorily completed last year, maybe you don't know what that is. Maybe the parents don't give you anything, and I don't believe that they have to. So I think asking students who are coming here, not saying that they haven't done anything or they're just being floated by and who that's it at all. I think that we need to make sure that the quality of their work is equivalent to what they would be getting here and what we ask of the students that have been coming here for 4 years or plus.
Just look, see if anybody hasn't spoken. Anthony?
So what strikes me as odd is that the argument to keep this wording as it came from the committee seems to disrespect Mr. Shaw. It seems to say that he's incapable of reaching a decision based on the materials that are given him, evaluating it, and saying this is what you have to do to graduate. You're not allowing him to say, wow, this person, this homeschool student, they were on the game. And you only have to take 2 credits to really to meet our graduation requirements. You're not letting him do that. You're saying, nope, no matter what, he cannot allow any more than the credits that they would allow them to get to the beginning of their senior year, basically. Right? It's bizarre. I have tons of faith in Mr. Shaw. I think that he's up to the job. I think that he can look at a portfolio. He can look at one portfolio that's really professionally represented from his homeschool student who put a great deal of effort into making it quite clear what their accomplishments are. And he can look at another one that's haphazard from some unschooling family where their entire portfolio consists of a performative a performative dance to try to convey their entire learning of 11 and a half years, right? And he can say, I'm sorry, I can't give you any credits for that. You're gonna have to start as a freshman, right? I believe that he can do that. This policy as it's written doesn't.
Joe?
Just, Mr. Shaw is not here, but having listened to him speak to this multiple times and having heard our administration speak to this multiple times, I think his opinion is actually a stronger one than what we're even recommending. I think his support is for 2 years and 12 credits, which was how this policy originally was. That is his desire. And I think when we're talking about this and the inconsistency and trying to make judgment, I think I just think for a little bit about how challenging it would be to assess a student's entire knowledge of high school in all subject matters and materials and determine placements. I think it is a pretty large challenge. It involves, I don't even know what kind of testing would be involved to perform these assessments. But what I believe to be the case is that having a minimum in-school requirement would allow for the principal and staff to do those assessments across subject matters while they're in school. And I think it's very clearly not about any kind of arbitrary quality like race. It is about the organization and expectations of institutional schools versus the potential and inconsistency across and variation across homeschool instruction.
Ashley,
The one concern that I have, and I agree, Anthony, in a perfect world, we would just assess it, you know, the deaf and family, the kiddo has to come in, they get assessed, and they're just like every other student. I think that unfortunately, this policy would allow more families to enroll kids, potentially for one class, because now with the strikeout of the other wording, they don't even have to use the time senior year. They could potentially enroll part-time for one class, in the second semester, maybe March, maybe April, if their family feels like they really need a diploma because they don't have sufficient paperwork. And they could push hard to have what they have count as credits, and they could get that diploma. And I'm concerned we could see more of that happening than a kid genuinely coming in because life circumstances force them to come into public school. And then that's putting a lot on administration to handle those families that are bringing their kids in. And I think more often than not, judging by how many kids have been enrolling in the last year or last 2 years of high school from homeschool instruction, which is very little, it sounds like, that could increase and be primarily those families that need a diploma and they're not transferring in because it's what they have to do, it's what they're looking to do. And I don't know how to prevent that, but I think taking this out would open that door to that too much.
any other, Anthony?
Thanks. This will be just very short. You know, it's the board's, stated goal, responsibility, process, however we want to describe it, to ask, you know, to basically ask for the input of, those affected by a change in policy, right? So, as far as I know, no effort was made to reach out to the homeschooling community. That hasn't been discussed. 2 homeschoolers with experience homeschooling have said this policy that came to us as recommended from the administration was problematic. So the people who we are supposed to listen to have said, hey, there's a problem. And I guess it just doesn't matter. So you guys just decide whatever you want. Make the black students have a different bar to jump over, because that's what this comes down to. It's disgusting.
All right, we're currently voting on the motion. Are we all clear with what the motion is? Anybody want it reread? Not seeing it, so all those in favor of Anthony's motion, please raise your hand. All those opposed? All right, that takes us to, the motion fails. That takes us to the policy as it currently stands. Any other discussion, thoughts, changes anybody would like to make to the current the policy as it stands? Not seeing any. All those in favor of the updated graduation requirements policy? This is in favor of the graduation requirements policy. This table makes it a little bit hard because it's kind of flat.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. Kyle, yes.
Yes.
Jen, yes. It's plus students.
All those opposed? All right, that takes us to Mass exits. We'll miss you. Bye. Is there something you said? All right. All right, so that takes us to 9.2. Consideration of removal,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, we're just,
Yes,
yes, so
we're
now
just-
we're
yes.
getting to the ones that are deleted,
All
yes,
right, so
sorry.
now 9.2, consideration of policy committee recommended deletion of revised policies. We'll do one at a time, or should we do all three? Yeah, so, I'm looking for a motion for 9.2.1, policy IHBAK, graduation requirements for special education students. 9.2.2, policy IKFA, awarding of MSAD52 diploma. 9.2.3, policy IKFD, MSAD52 graduation exercises. These were all taken care of in the previous policy that just got amended. So anybody have a motion to remove these? Kyle does, second by Crystal. All those in favor of removing those? No, I didn't want to hear any discussion. Is there any discussion on the removal of these policies? I don't think there will be. All right, all those in favor of removing these policies? It is unanimous. All right. Now that takes us to the Dr. Gillis show.
Yes, we gotta get their presentation.
We
on, so
got a
give us 1 second.
presentation. Ladies in the audience, you have a presentation coming.
It'll be short.
They look excited.
Yes, yes.
Teresa, don't take into account the size of the audience as the importance of the presentation.
Yeah, wait for this to turn.
Nope, there it is. Hit play. It's up there. Okay, all right. So good evening, everyone. This is the presentation on our Elementary and Secondary Education Act. First of all, I want to point out for you, these are the various, we call them titles. They're buckets where grant funding goes. The first one, Title 1A, is improving the academic achievement of the disadvantaged. We have 2 schools who are school-wide Title I, that is Green Central School and Leeds Central School. And then within this title, we also have a required project. It's called homeless something, but it's in order to support and remove barriers for students who are qualified as homeless. Title 2A is preparing teachers, recruiting high-quality teachers and principals. That's where our professional development money lies in that grant. Title 3, where we don't get. Title 4, student support and academic enrichment. That is particularly targeting areas where we might want to purchase some things that we need to use with students, some materials. And then the Rural Education Initiative is targeted specifically to school districts that are rural. So this year, our total is up some from last year. You can see is $550,720. This is anticipated. We will not get final notification until the end of June. So hopefully soon. And then these slides really just talk about what I've already talked about, so I don't know that we need to go through those rather quickly. I have them ready, and then I don't know that we need them, so. I don't know if there are any specific questions regarding, I can put that other one up again, this one. Yeah. That's a good one to have up. The other ones just go into more detail, and all these slides are in your packet, your electronic packet. Kyle, do you have a question?
Anticipation of, how do you know, or how do you know the numbers potentially that you're anticipating?
We are given preliminary amounts from the state, which is the pass-through for these grants from the federal government. So we received notification that these are our anticipated amounts. Our final amounts usually do change some, but it's not, trying to think, yeah, if it's been like down 3,000, up a little bit. So it's really, the timing is very tricky because the application is already open and we're going to start writing it, next week. And we don't quite yet have our final figures, but that's a great question. So we're received, it comes in a email notification.
The grant comes to the state and then the state distributes it. So it's a block grant to the state, and so they do the calculations at the Department of Education.
Now, is this the question period, or this is the official public comment period, or is this?
You can ask questions because then we have to document that we have an official public comment period, so you can ask
Do we
any
have
other
questions or public comment or whatever?
We can do it all in one if you want. You're
Oh,
the
hey,
chairperson.
You're in charge.
I think we have public comment going on right now.
Okay.
Unless there's something,
Jenny, did you
we're
have a
we're
question?
technically
No.
public,
Oh,
so,
okay, I thought I saw your hand up.
Oh, no, I think I was just turning.
so I think you can document what you wish. Does anybody else have any other questions, thoughts about this?
So the public comment is a period which has been open. We sent notification to all, families through Bright Arrow. We have had this posted on our district website because we are required to have open public comment period. We have received no public comment as of yet, which is okay. Some years we get 3 or 4 and some we get none. And the public comment is on how, any ideas that people might have for use of these funds.
Okay,
Okay,
Great.
It's all up to you.
all right.
sounds good.
Peter,
Oh, no,
Yeah,
I got a T
Anthony.
behind me.
I have a concern. And it's because these are federal dollars. So these come with, our requirement to certify that we will comply with all of the federal government's conditions, right? And one of those conditions is compliance with Title IX. So by accepting any of this money, we will be certifying that we are complying with Title IX as it is interpreted by the executive order. The problem is that we are not complying with Title IX as interpreted by that executive order. By accepting any of these federal funds, or in fact, any other federal funds, we have other federal funds on the agenda tonight, I believe, we will be committing fraud under the False Claims Act. This is not the same thing as interpreting Title IX. This is the honesty of our assertion that we are complying with the federal government's conditions. And my understanding is that the Supreme Court has made it very, very clear that the spending clause of the United States Constitution allows the federal government to absolutely set the terms of the disbursements of monies that it sends out. So we are not allowed to strike out the fine print after we sign the contract. We have a serious problem. Whether or not we just sit back and think, maybe we won't get hit with a fraud investigation. But if we do, and we are found to be non-compliant, my understanding is that we are liable for treble damages. That means that any amounts of money that we took, right here, I'm looking at a $550,000 number. We'd have to pay back 3 times that amount. That would be catastrophic for this district. It would be catastrophic to our taxpayers. And that's not the only kind of damages that the federal government could slap on us. They could say, and you're not eligible for a period of years for any federal funding. Or maybe it would be reduced funding. Think of what a 10, 20% difference would do to our taxes. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other questions or, all right. Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you.
All right. that takes us to the fact that we just can't say goodbye to each other. All right, I'm gonna be optimistic, depends, or pessimistic, depends upon which side of the thing you're on. If the budget passes, 2 Thursdays from now, because next week it goes to the towns, and the towns have to agree to something, not the budget, they have to agree to something. Right,
They've already agreed to everything, that's how.
Oh,
we
it's
do
a
it.
turn, 2
It's-
weeks.
Now it's the
Okay.
absentee ballots and all that stuff.
So, I'm sorry, 2 Thursdays from now is the budget vote. So if it passes, we have to have a meeting at some point to, to approve the vote as it was wrote. It would be good if that meeting happened sooner than later, and it would be even better if it happened in June, not July, since our budget officially starts in July. So that being said, I'm foreseeing a meeting, I'm gonna probably call a meeting on that Friday. We've made arrangements for the town of Turner to get their information, because they're closed on Turner, because the town selectmen of Turner are weak and gave in to their people. But, trust me, I've told that to the office too, they know. But anyways, so we have, it has to be anytime after 10. So I am not going to say what I'm about to say, is that I would like to have as many as possible, but we only need 5. But I never want to say that not everybody's important, so.
Probably 10:30, because I told Green and Leeds can have the documents ready at 10, so I just need to drive them.
So
back.
basically anytime from, say, 11 o'clock on.
Yeah.
So we'll have more communication as it goes. Of course, this is going to change. Everything will change, and we probably will not meet, I see it, Ash. We'll not have the meeting on the 25th if it fails, because we'll have to have a couple meetings, so we'll probably figure something else different that
I
way.
think the 25th is the vote, so you're.
Or whatever, 26th, that Friday, sorry, that Friday. So the Friday, if it fails, we will not have a meeting on Friday, because we'll have to take a step back, a breathe, and figure out what our next steps are and where we go. If it passes, I'm hoping to have a meeting on the 26th. So, Ash,
That was gonna be one of my questions, I was gonna email him, but I'll just ask now, do we wanna make sure that 5 are available? I'm out of state, so I
Okay.
know, and summer's gearing up, so I know other people are probably traveling around.
just quick hands that Friday, anytime during the day.
Has a motion been made yet?
This will kind of just chit chatting, right?
Okay.
Because, I guess we can officially make a motion. I make a motion to have a meeting on
Special meeting.
Friday, special meeting to do the budget. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Wait a second. Quick vote of hands, I understand that we might not know for sure, who will be available, they believe, on that Friday?
26.
26.
Is it, what time?
We don't know. I will, if it passes, I'll send out saying, okay, we're available. And I'm honestly available from 11 o'clock till midnight.
So
So-
Oh, not midnight, I'm
Yeah,
asleep.
no.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
trying
no, no.
anyway.
I said I can be here, not mentally.
It just needs to be after 11 AM so that we can get the documentation, but as late,
It can
late
be
in the
6
afternoon.
o'clock, it can be 6 o'clock if
So-
nobody wants to do it.
Crystal, Alex, Peter,
Jenny,
Jenny,
Joe,
Joe. So
So-
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
yeah,
Okay.
and maybe others, depending upon what it looks like, come closer to
It
that.
does depend on time a little bit, but
Yeah,
it should be.
no, well, if we could do it, I'll send it
Like-
out and say, what kind of time frame are you looking
What-
I
at?
had to pull down. If it was 7, then yes, but if it's 11.
It's not gonna be able to do, if we can't do it first thing in the
No,
morning.
no, he's talking 7 at night.
Oh,
No.
No,
No,
he's
he's
talking
talking-
7 in the
Oh,
yeah,
morning.
he's always available 7 in the AM. We
Yeah, yeah.
can't do it at 7 AM, we won't have the documents, so it's
If
gonna
I
have
can
to
make
be
it, I
after.
will.
All right, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, and
Well,
we'll just deal with it, but we really want to try to make it happen.
So we cannot assess the towns without your vote, like, there's a,
Mhm.
we can't enter into any agreements without the board's action, like,
Don't,
there's,
don't we have to set a time for public notice purposes too? I mean,
yeah, we should.
Oh, okay, I don't
Can we
really care.
do Zoom?
Oh, that opens up a whole can of worms if we
Yeah.
do Zoom.
We can, but it's much more
Kyle, how
complex.
late can you meet?
Gabby?
We need signatures.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
So Zoom.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
oh, right,
Nice
we need
work.
signatures, yeah.
Thank you,
so-
Gabby.
5 or 6,
That's why you're
when
here.
can you get here?
That's right.
Kyle, what are you thinking time-wise? In the afternoon, can you do anything? Or if it's not in the morning, are you a no-go?
Crystal managing his calendar.
Crystal, when can he come?
No, just kidding.
Crystal went like anytime.
I'm available anytime.
Okay, Alex?
Yeah.
I mean, I assume till like 5, I mean, we can meet as late as 5 if we need to, 5 or
Whatever.
6, like, I'll do whatever.
I will be there.
Okay,
So
Peter,
Alex is a anytime, I'm an
Alex,
anytime.
Crystal, Peter,
I'll make it work.
Joe's
We
gonna
gotta
make it work, Jenny,
Anytime.
anytime, okay.
And again,
And that's 5.
we might have
And
have
then
If
three.
you did 5, it'd be, but as I get later, cause I'm some traveling too, but departing. So if you did 5, I could make that work,
5 p.m.
or, yeah, 5.
But, you know, was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Would you prefer 5 o'clock?
I would.
Okay,
yeah.
so let's plan on 5 o'clock.
5 p.m.
5 p.m. and we'll see if anybody else can make it, because it'd be nice if we had all 9 of us.
Okay.
Do you eventually need all 9 signatures?
No.
Okay.
Need a majority.
Just the majority? Okay. So
So
again,
the motion is for a special meeting on June 26th at 5 p.m.
yes.
Here? Anywhere?
We'll probably do the middle school library, because it's air conditioned and that's typically where we meet in summer.
Or I've had these meetings at central office, in the conference room,
And we can do that too.
to be
You
honest
tell
with
me
you.
what you wanna do.
Central office conference room.
Okay. Okay,
That way the janitors don't have to worry
yeah,
about us and
good point,
everything.
good point. Okay,
All right, and, we have a motion, we have a time, we have a second, we have a date, we have a location, all those in favor? Unanimous.
Students too.
How exciting.
Thank you.
All right. 10.3. Title IX. I think I sent out a brief email just to explain that we we're gonna have this. And to make things formal, I'm gonna make a motion that we continue, to consider, retain Woodsmith, Henning, and Burnham, attorneys in law, and also in the same time continue Trevor Bryce as our legal counsel for the Title IX lawsuit we're having from Maine Human Rights Commission. I make that motion, and we can talk about, we have a second from Joe. Basically, Trevor moved, for his sake, I'm gonna say moved up in his life, I'm guessing. And he's the lawyer we've been working with at
He was
Skelton
at
Taylor,
Skelton.
Skelton Taylor. They still have it? Not that it matters. Skelton Taylor used to be at it. But our agreement was with Skelton Taylor. But I would suggest that we stay with our current lawyer. He understands what's going on. He says the new law firm is more than happy to continue with the we assume with all the exact same pricing. We've been told it's within the guidelines that are given to us and everything. And Skelton Taylor did not say they wouldn't continue with us, but they strongly encouraged us to go with Trevor, primarily because Trevor understands the case, and we're gonna have he has our first hearings
He
coming,
said there might be some arguments this summer, so that sort of was the timing.
and they'd rather have Trevor continue with it than have one of their lawyers.
And they had concerns about capacity with him now not there anymore.
Yeah. So, but anyways, questions, thoughts? So realistically, nothing's changing other than the law firm. The lawyer is staying the same. All right, not seeing any discussion. All those in favor? All those opposed? All right, that takes us to this is just a general workshop, so no motions, no. I'm going to do what Betsy taught me to do. Take a second, folks, because we're gonna do a round table.
Bring it back.
We're gonna go one way or the other. So, this is solely about how we felt the budget worked, even though it's not passed yet. How our meetings worked, if we want to continue the meeting schedule, which we've actually already voted on. But, we can change it, of course.
Yep.
If we, how we felt the presentations by staff, all that kind of stuff. So, Let's start with Kyle, to my left. Any thoughts, concerns, what do you think of our budget? How we worked it?
I think we had plenty of information. I think Gabby and her team and Carrie have done a good job on putting at least a good financial budget together. I think having the vote with not a board meeting after or today was beneficial. I think it would have made a long night for that, so that was a good choice. Another good choice was keeping the board meeting in this room where it's cooler instead of leaving. But as far as all seriousness, I feel like it went really well. I mean, I can't think of anything off the top of my head that stands out that was a red flag. So I was satisfied.
Crystal?
I agree with Kyle that I like having separate nights. I think that it's just way too much between the budget and then a regular meeting. So I hope that you guys keep that separate in the future. I don't know what happened with like getting the word out. It feels like people say that they didn't know. I don't know what happened there, because I mean, I got my flyer in the mail, like saw things on Facebook, like your presentation and stuff. So I just don't know what happened this year. I don't know if people are just kind of backing off from like social media just because I think people are tired in general. I don't know. I don't have like a good thing going forward, to make sure that the word gets out there, even for the 25th, to make sure that people are aware that the 25th is happening, that we have failed budget. This is super important. I don't know, except for just everybody trying to get the word out and phone friend kind of thing.
You getting that?
Am I up?
Yep, you're.
I thought it all went well. Having the separate meetings is definitely beneficial. If I remember right, I think in some of the lead-up meetings before the workshops, we did have some agenda items where we discussed kind of preliminary stuff with the admin team, which I think is beneficial on our side to be able to give some guidance, but also get kind of, prepared for what's to come in the actual. I think the administration team did a good job informing people that the vote was coming. I mean, there's many posts on social media that I've tracked down, and I think people are as informed as they want to be. But the total number of people was very high for a budget vote, so didn't go our way, but it was a lot of people.
Love to hear the students. What's your thoughts?
Oh,
You were there.
yeah, I think it'd be good to split up because that was a really long night. So I think I remember we didn't even start the regular meeting till like 9 p.m. Splitting up would probably be a good idea. But other than that, it was really interesting to watch.
I'm the old fashions just by, I don't like change. But I have to admit that I do think that it really worked out better this year, and I didn't balk when I saw that we're gonna continue that way with the, so. I think it worked out fairly well. In general, the information was received. We got it in a pretty timely fashion. We were able to go through it. I got lost a smidgen with some of cause a lot of like our facilities stuff really wasn't budget. It got put in the reserve, which threw me a little bit. So that was, I think if we do that, and I realized it was presented, but I think we just need to emphasize a little bit more, or maybe I just wasn't paying attention. There's that chance. As for notification, I think we did as good as any district in the state. I think, or most every district in the state. I'm sure there's somebody out there that goes above and beyond. But I don't think it really matters. I think people are gonna show if they get driven to it, if they get excited for it. In general, just like I think Alex is 100% right. People are saying, well, nobody voted. It was actually a good turnout for, so they have nobody to blame but themselves. We sent out the information, they know it was coming. Whether they wanted it or not. So if they missed their vote, hopefully get another chance. So But that's so overall, I think it went well, long story short. Joe?
Well, I think, this is the second or is the third time we've had these concentrated nights of,
Second,
this is just the second
I
time?
think it was the
Yeah.
second time.
So comparing this to the process we had before, I think this continues to be the best path forward. Having these longer workshops to really focus in on the budgets. 'Cause I think it was just too spread out before, and draining to have our actual meetings in conjunction with those smaller budget meetings. So I appreciate having the budget focused sessions, and have, just one limited time. So, but I mean, as far as like this year compared to last year, I mean, I think every year is gonna have subtly different issues that arise and flows of items, and I don't think we can plan for that. But I think in general, I think we should keep the general structure.
Bree, welcome back.
Thanks. It's a lot cooler in here. I agree. I appreciate having separate meetings specifically focused on budget discussion, budget workshop times. It does allow folks from the community to be able to come and hear and weigh in on those, and not, again, feel like it's a really long meeting attached to a regular board meeting as well. So I think moving forward for next year, we continue with that practice to keep budget workshop meetings as a separate meeting to be able to highlight all the issues we need to talk about.
Thank you. Any thoughts?
I think they went well. I think things were addressed quite adequately, and any issues that people had, there was definitely good discussion on those, and that's all I have to say.
Cool, thank you.
So it was my first budget cycle, so I wasn't having to compare it to the previous ones where you guys had meetings, but I did appreciate that we just did the workshop, the meetings, and didn't have our regular meetings after. I thought we went fine.
I thought they were fine. There are a few things in my mind that I was planning to kind of bring forward as a couple things to add to the binder going into next year. We had requested some reports that Gabby had worked on, like looking at the increase to the locals over the past 5 years, looking at the increase in budget. I would like to see that on a printout in the budget, so we can actually be looking at it as we're going through the budget, because I don't remember if I asked during the budget process, but being able to see, okay, where have we been, where are we trending, what's this local percentage look like, how's it been increasing, having that in the budget binder, I think would be more helpful. And then starting the budget, we talked about percentages, but also I think it would be helpful to give admin some ranges on that percentage to local increase rather than just a budget increase, because that seems to be the number that people are looking at. So we kind of start with, better, best, worst scenarios. These are the ranges that the board's kind of thinking of where we want to see the towns end up for percentages. What does the budget look like for that, rather than doing it at the end? So I felt like we kind of tried to manipulate that number at the end versus starting with it in the beginning. And then I also kind of feel like where we have on that binder all of our tabs for warrants and the revenues, having another tab for the unallocated fund balance, that we can see what the reserve accounts are, because we're always asking, well, I am always asking, what is the reserve account? We don't know what they are, but listing out those reserve accounts, listing out the unallocated fund balance, how much we're over, what the 9% is. So that way the whole board can really see what that is on paper. We're not just throwing around all these numbers in our head, because there's quite a few numbers. There's a threshold, there's the rainy day fund, the reserves. So having that in its own spot, and then, like Carrie said, they roll over a default number for planning, whether it's the 600,000 now, but then that gives the board an opportunity to review that whole fund, that whole sheet, and say, do we want to add or take away, rather than just leaving it a set number. So those are the few things
I just follow up. So I'm picturing, because we did a couple of presentations leading up to the budget process. So I'm almost thinking there'd be a resource section where all that stuff would get put in there, so people could go back and reference it, in including that. Okay, that's a really great idea. Thank you.
As well as also having a little bit more detail about that.
Yeah.
Because the whole carryover honestly confuses everybody quite regularly.
Yep, it's a great idea.
Anything? There's a couple very good ideas in that.
She's just getting warmed up.
All right, Anthony,
I agree, the splitting the workshops up from regular meetings is the way to go, so that's great. I think the spreadsheet approach to doing this is great, and that it lets us see the supervised detail. Sometimes it makes it hard to see the forest for the trees though, so, if you wanna find how much we're spending on athletics, for instance, you have to know where to look, right? And cause it's buried in several different places. And even something as simple as, our instructional coaches might be spread around, so it makes it hard to find exactly how much we're necessarily spending on something if you don't know where to look. Gabby and the superintendent know, cause they put it there. But we have to see it and then remember, oh yeah, that's in 5, and that's in 9, and this is in 2. So I think having, some visualizations that allow us to see things in a much more abstract way, would also be super helpful, and I think would probably be really helpful for the public as well, who probably don't want to be going to the super fine tune stuff. The other thing that I'll just throw out there is that, I would really like to see what our spending is in relation to what our students are doing. I've been asking all year to know how our academic performance is. We're developing a budget to best educate our children within our ability to pay for it, and yet we don't know how it's working necessarily. We get like, this one. It feels like it's just like one report in the fall of tests that happen sometime in the late winter or spring. And then we're kind of going on that without any real sense of, no, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, this is how it's working. And I really believe that information helps see how effective certain spending might be.
That's something that we're definitely addressed, and we're hoping to really incorporate into next year's, like our overall grade, just not the NWAs, or MEAs or whatever, actually our grades. I absolutely agree with that. Anything else? Anybody else have any thoughts on the budget? Not seeing any. No. Thank you, and for those of us who will be here next year for it, we all look forward to it. All right, that was the workshop. 10.5, acceptance of a FEMA grant for an emergency generator at Levitt Area High School in the amount of $140,893.50, which is 75% of the total approved project cost of $858, and approval to use the capital reserve funds for the district required share of $46,964.50 as a condition of the federal grant, and an additional $9,203.55 for a total of $56,167 to complete the project. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second from Kyle. I've probably been told this, but what's the additional 9,000 for?
Yeah, so just to remind everybody, we started so this all started in December of 2023 when the world came to an end with ice and water and flooding, and we had no school for 3 days. And so we got connected with the main FEMA, who said, apply for a grant for generators, because that's when we all started talking about, like, we need to start planning for these kinds of events. We obviously did not think it would take this long to get it, but here we are. Cassandra Roy was our point person for this. And so when we submitted the grant, the cost for the generator was $187,000. That was a year ago, so generators cost more now than they did a year ago, like everything. Okay. So the additional, for the grant, we need our 25%, which is the $46,000, but we got an updated price from the person who submitted the bid that was accepted, and it's now higher. So we need that additional $9,000 to cover the cost of the project. So this will fully electrify the high school, and I think then we'll have to, PTB and the board will have to think about, do we want to start to look at generators at other schools? But this will be our starting place.
Alex?
I apologize. It's off by 50 cents.
Oh.
Gabby?
Oops.
It should be 568168.05.
Dot oh, 187,000, what?
No, 56,168.
67. Oh,
106.
6805?
6805.
Uh-huh.
Just said six.
I'm just trying to save Gabby some work later.
No, she just put the 50 cents
I
in,
tried to make Kristen do it.
official donation.
Guys,
All right, other than our questionable math, is there any other questions? Yes?
We have a generator for the wastewater treatment plant that also powers the central office.
It does not.
No.
We tried to make that happen and it was not possible. So no, that generator
Just the
only.
wastewater treatment.
Yes, so we will, without generators, we can't flush toilets, but that will keep doing what it needs to do with whatever's down there. So, baby steps, right? But yeah, I mean, at least we will now, now we'll at least have a shelter, like we could move all the students from TES, all the students from the middle school if we needed to.
To the
We could
wastewater
move
treatment
them.
plant?
Bring them all with their little plugs, plug in, charge their phones. No, we could bring them all here if we needed to. We could even bus TPS, you know what I mean? Like, at least it now gives us a location where the vast majority of our students could be if we needed to do something and could not move them quickly enough to go home. I think we'll have to think about Green and Leeds. It's sort of how we start to pick away at some resiliency for the rest of the schools, but at least for the Turner campus, which the vast majority of our students are at, we now have a plan and can locate them.
Anthony?
I'm assuming that this FEMA grant comes with the standard federal assurances.
I assume so.
So we would be dishonest in accepting this by certifying that we are complying with Title IX. I just want to state that it would be completely irresponsible of this board to accept this money.
Anything else? All right, all those in favor of proceeding forward with the generator? Okay, all those opposed? All right. That takes us to 10.6, consideration and approval to authorize the district architect to develop preliminary designs for the proposed transportation facility for the purpose of community engagement. Do we have a motion? We have a motion, we have a second, we have a motion from Kyle, second from Bree.
I had Crystal
Crystal?
first.
Sorry,
Second,
well,
my husband.
whatever.
Who had the second?
No, Crystal
Crystal
had
got
the
the
first
first.
and
Yeah.
Kyle had the second.
Okay.
I was looking to my right, but
Okay.
some stuff happened on my left. All right. I think, the majority, if not the board in general, still feels that the land on Cobb Road would be a very positive addition to the district. At some point later this summer, early August or September, we'll be probably bringing it forward again. But one thing I think I did learn from this is we need to at least have not as extreme detail, but a very basic idea of what it's gonna look like. And our layout at least. Unfortunately, nobody does that for free. So this just kind of gives us, this would give us the authority to actually have something done amongst all the people who are currently working on the district for projects. So that was where this came from. Alex?
I was just curious if this should be broadened to include field.
See,
Well, I think
the
it
next
does.
item will deal that. We're working with two different architecture firms. So the CHA will be,
But the next item is just for the field assessment of the current.
did
field,
that
isn't it?
costing?
No?
The cost includes the additional amount.
It
of
does.
the property.
Yeah.
There we go.
It was 19,000, and that's why it was taken off the consent agenda, because we had talked about it in finance for
Yeah.
19,000.
Yep.
But we included that.
Very good.
Thank you.
Any other?
So this architecture firm is dealing with the transportation portion of it.
Fences, fuel, buildings. All right. All those in favor? All those opposed? All right, that takes us to 10.7, consideration and approval of Finance Committee recommended use of capital repair reserve for the CHA architecture PC proposal for field assessment, a total of 22,500. We have a motion.
Yes.
Okay, she keeps saying yes, but I'm not sure, but I think it's down there.
I got Bree first
I
and
think we should-
Crystal
it's
second.
I know,
Give
whatever.
it to both of them.
Let-
Bree
Okay,
and
it's Bree and
it's
Crystal.
their last
Bree and Crystal.
meeting. Give them the motions in a second. They get out, they go out and fire.
So is this a preemptive?
Hardly.
The budget's gonna fail? Is that what you're telling me? If this is their last meeting, the
Oh,
budget's gonna.
jeez.
It's the last regular meeting.
Oh, okay, there we
You are
go.
not an optimist.
I told you, I am an optimist. All right, anyways, this is, can we have a quick
Yeah.
explain of what this
So
includes?
this is the assessment of our current fields that PTB has been talking about for a very long time of like, what do we currently have? What does it need? And what are options? So, and we've talked, when we talked to the architecture firms, like, we want options, like, what could it look like if we do this? What investments do we need to make? And then, included in that cost is a preliminary design of what field space could look like at the Cobb Road facility.
So, all those in, anything else? Any further questions, thoughts, concerns? All those in favor? All those opposed?
Just Anthony, right?
I think you were,
I wasn't sure.
Ashley?
Ashley, was your hand?
I was in favor.
Okay.
Yes, okay,
Yeah, that's it.
that's what.
All right, that takes us to the end. We just have an executive session at this point. That being said, I just want to take one more official time to say thank you to our two departing. And I said lots of nice things about you, Bree, earlier. Too bad you weren't here to watch them. So we do have some cards for you guys.
Thank you.
And the plan, take the flowers.
Thank you.
Oh, they're not, I thought those were Jonah.
Nope, no, not this time.
Anyway, so thank you, ladies. And with any luck, we'll see you again. And hopefully see you out in the audience to ask lots of questions and irritate us. All right. That takes us to request for an executive session, discuss the Tri-Town Association Teachers, TE, whatever, for negotiations pursuant to 1 MRSA subsection 405-6D. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Whoa, we have a motion from Bree, a second by Anthony.
They
He got
can
it.
do the motions for the final vote. So can we vote on going to executive session?
All those in favor?
Yes.
All those in favor? I'm
Guys, we're
pretty
voting
sure.
on going to
Yeah, all those opposed? I'm pretty sure.
Okay,
Great. I'm gonna